Well, here we are in South Africa. That was the fastest trip I've ever taken to South Africa. It took 1 second. Otherwise, coming from America, if I travel to South Africa, it's kind of a long way. So I'm happy to be here. I was actually going to come to South Africa. When was I going to come? Easter weekend for the big festival in Durban, the Rath Yatra. I was going to come, but they had to cancel long in advance. Long before the lockdown, they had canceled, which was unfortunate, but I was kind of relieved because I had been traveling for 6 months. And so I didn't want to, I thought, oh, I don't have to travel all that way because I would have had to, I would have had to have left about 2 weeks after coming back from being gone for 6 months. So now I can be in South Africa with all of you from the comfort of my own office in Florida. So I'm happy to be here. And I was invited to come to this retreat, and I wasn't going to be able to be there because after Rath Yatra, after the festival in Durban, if they would have had it, I would have gone to Australia. That was already planned. So we call this divine arrangement. By divine arrangement, we're here together. So I'm happy to be with you. And they wanted me to introduce myself. I began practicing bhakti yoga. I read Bhagavad Gita when I was 19. That was 50 years ago. And I've been practicing ever since. And I've focused a lot of my career in bhakti on teaching, sharing my realizations. And I try to develop courses which are relevant, that resonate with people, how you can apply spirituality in your life, because it's one thing to know it, but it's another thing to actually do it. And I have a little joke here. It's time for a little skit. We did this skit the other day. I'm going to make a cigarette because I don't smoke. I never did. But I'm going to make a cigarette because this will illustrate a little bit about what I think is really important for all of us who are trying to advance spiritually. I'm going to make a cigarette because I have to do a skit. And this can illustrate it better than anything I could tell you. Okay, here's this. This is a big cigarette, right? A little too big. Anyway, it's a skit. We'll make it big. So I'm smoking. And somebody's telling me, you know, smoking is really bad for you. It gives you emphysema. It could cause lung cancer. It's bad for your children. They're inhaling the smoke. Is bad for anyone who inhales the smoke. And I'm going like this. Yeah, I know. So that's the problem. You know something, but you don't do it. So what I've focused on is how to get it from here to here so that you get it out of your head into practice. And that's something we're going to be talking about today. So I've developed many, many workshops, many seminars, and we're going to put links. At some point, we'll put the links here for my websites, and I've written some books and how you can get those books. And I also do music, and I have my keyboard here in case I get inspired. We'll do some music. Sometimes when I'm speaking, I get inspired and I make up a song spontaneously. So I can do that also. And that's a little bit of my history. I now travel 4 to 6 months a year doing workshops and counseling and helping my disciples, guiding them. And we have a few projects around the world. And one project is called the Mantra Project, where we help people chant daily their own personal meditation. And we're trying to get millions of people to chant daily, because if that happens, there can be a shift in the world if enough people chant. So there are many projects I'm working on. I have an online, we're going to give you the online, I have online courses called Bhakti Online Education. You'll get the link for that. Right now I have some forgiveness courses there, which are accessible to you. And we don't charge, we just ask for donations. So it's available to everyone. So if you want to know more, then you can go to my website and tell you everything about me you ever wanted to know and everything you didn't want to know. So today, we've been asked to speak about emotions and what are emotions and how do we deal with them. And if I swipe, I can see you all. There you are. Rain and Adelie and Merumala and Surabi. Yeah. Some of your names, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce them. Should I try? NK, how do you say NK? NK. Okay, can you unmute yourself and tell me how you say your name?
My name is Nkosingake.
I can never say it. Let me try though. Say it again.
Nkosingake.
Nikosingake.
Yes, it means Lord build me, give me strength and courage.
Oh, good name. Good name.
Thank you.
Thank you. So many we see. I like that yoga for Bhakti Yoga Durban. That's beautiful. Can I steal it? Anyway, there's so many of you. It's nice to see you all. So we are related because I lived in South Africa for a year or two in the early 90s. Excuse me, 80s. I came in 1981. So that was, of course, during apartheid. So I experienced that. That was interesting. But anyway, so we're talking about emotions, and I was thinking about, whenever I'm asked to talk about something, I think about it, even though I've spoken about this and I've written about it. I always like to think about it in a fresh way. So I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about math. So we all done math. We've all done arithmetic, when you're in school. 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4. And you're like, okay. It's like, so I was thinking, and probably the same for you, when you're doing these math numbers, they're just numbers. Okay, 11 - 8 is 3. And you have to get that in your 3. Remember when you were like 6, 7 years old and they'd give you these tables? 14 + 3. And then when you get advanced, 14 + 3 - 6 × 2 divided by 8. And you're like, okay, what are you thinking when you're doing it? You're probably thinking, I hate this. Well, some of you probably like it, but most of you are thinking, I hate this. This is like, or you're thinking, why am I doing this? What's the point? How am I going to use this? Isn't it? But so let's go back to 2 + 2 is 4. Right, 2 + 2 is 4. Yeah, it's still 4, right? It was 4 when I went to school. Still 4, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, 2 + 2 is still 4. So is there any emotion connected to 2 + 2 is 4, other than I hate this or I'm bored? It's usually pretty neutral, isn't it? Because 2 + 2 is 4. Okay, if I don't get the answer right, I'm gonna have to take this class over again. So that's about as far as your emotion goes. A few of you who like numbers, who want to be accountants, are like, I love this. 2 + 2 is 4. This is exciting. But you're probably a rare breed to get excited about numbers, isn't it? Most people, unless those are numbers in your bank account, you won't get excited. All right. But then I was thinking, 2 + 2 is 4. Probably for most of us, doesn't have much emotion. It's just 2 + 2 is 4. It's just a fact of arithmetic. But what if it was 4 super juicy, sweet mangoes? And you like mangoes. You're like, ooh, 4 mangoes. All of a sudden, you start feeling something, right? 2 + 2 is 4. You don't feel much. 4 mangoes. Hey, I like mangoes. Where are they? Can I have them? Well, let's say we do 10,000 + 10,000. Nothing. It's just 20,000. And then I say 20,000 US dollars in your bank account. How do you feel now? All of a sudden, the 20,000, there's an emotion attached to it, right? So we have a lot of thoughts like 2 + 2 is 4, and there's no emotion. It's just, okay, it's a fact. Or there's a little emotion, like, okay, that's not too exciting, but obviously you're always feeling something. So you feel something, like, big deal, 2 + 2 is 4. But if it's 4 mangoes, or if it becomes 400,000 somethings, 400,000 red ants crawling up your body, yeah, just that thought will make you feel pretty bad, right? Even 4 red ants. We have red ants here in where I live. You have red ants in South Africa? Yes? No? You do? They bite. Yeah, you have? Okay, I have to go to the chat. Now I'm looking at all of you, so let's go to the chat. Let's see if you have red ants. Tell me in the chat if you haven't. Red ants? Yeah, we do. Okay. I'm from California. We have termites. Well, in California, they have black ants. They don't bite. But I moved to Florida, they have red ants. And if they bite you, it's like they bite in 1 nanosecond, and then it stays kind of inflamed for quite a while. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 red ants. Ooh, an emotion, negative emotion. 4 mangoes. Ah, $400,000. Yeah. 4 people yelling at you. Ooh. So just the number, there's no emotion. But when you attach something to the number, there's an emotion. So oftentimes we think, and there's not much emotion there. It's just a thought, right? Isn't it? It's just there's a car. Okay. Like if you're a guy and you see a really big motorcycle and you like motorcycles, wow, look at that motorcycle. But if you're a girl, you look at the motorcycle and it's kind of like, nothing, right? Because girls like motorcycles are like, or for a girl, it's like, ugh, scary. And the guy's like, listen to that motorcycle. So you may have no emotion, negative emotion, positive emotion. But in the Vedas, in the Vedic literature, they say they teach that emotions are part of the mind. So we think the mind, what we think the mind is just thinking. That's what the mind does. It thinks. But the mind has emotions. It's the subtle aspect of thought. When the thought is felt, that's an emotion. It's feeling what you're thinking. Because sometimes you think and you don't really feel much, isn't it? Right? You know, someone says something to you and it's like has no interest to you. And you're like, oh, okay, all right. And you feel nothing and you just go on doing what you're doing. So it's just the thought that may have no feeling. When the feeling is attached to it, there's emotion. So the Vedas say you have thinking, you have feeling, which is a subtle aspect of the mind, which we call emotion. And then you have willing. When the emotion becomes strong, then you act. So just because you have the emotion doesn't mean you're going to act. Just because you feel bad doesn't mean you're going to do something bad. Doesn't mean you're going to say something bad. But when you will, when you have the emotion and then you will, that's the third aspect of the mind. So we're going to talk about emotions and how to deal with them. What function do they have? And how emotions can help us and how emotions can harm us. As you know, in order to be successful in anything, whether it's materially or spiritually, you have to have self-discipline, right? You can't just be completely distracted. You're supposed to do something and then, oh, I'll just play my keyboard. I have a keyboard here. I was actually going to chant. We forgot to chant. Maybe we'll chant later. So, oh, I have to look at my email. Let me just play my keyboard. There's this really nice song. Have you ever heard it? It's called Have Mercy on the Animals. Have you ever heard that song? It's written by a devotee. See the birds up in the trees. They also have the families. I don't know the words. They want they want to fly high. And then the chorus. Have mercy on the animals. They feel just like you do. Have mercy on the animals. They have their feelings too. Yeah, so I'd rather do that than all these emails and just taxing my brain. I have to deal with so many things. So I get distracted, right, easily. And I have this little thing, I have this machine. I don't know if you have one. It's called a distraction machine. Do you have one? They're also known as phones. Yeah, they're also known as phones. I call them distraction machines. So you can waste unlimited amounts of time. So we all know that if we want to accomplish anything materially or spiritually, and spiritually it's the same principle. It's just that your object is different, but the principle of controlling your mind, controlling your emotions in order to achieve something, it's the same principle. Like, let's say, for example, you get in a fight with your best friend. Now your mind is disturbed. and you're supposed to do some work or some homework, or you're students, a lot of you are students, okay, well, say you're supposed to study for your final examination, and your mind is like, ding, 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 and all you can think of is, how could he say that? How could he do that? I can't study, I'm so upset. Right? Can you relate? Have you ever had that experience? You get so upset, you can't focus. So whether you're focusing on your homework or you're focusing on your meditation or focusing on anything, if you can't control your emotion controls you. Isn't it? It's a fact, right? So here's the first mantra or the principle of this class. Either you control your emotions or your emotions control you. Sad but true. Either you control your mind or your mind controls you. Either you control, you can list any emotion. Either you control your anger or your anger controls you. That's a fact of life. So whatever you're trying to achieve, if you're not emotionally controlled, you're going to be in trouble. Now, if you read Bhagavad Gita says, control your mind, it'll be your friend. If you don't, it'll be your enemy. But when it says control your mind, I think we have to think that includes all the emotions, because all the emotions are part of your mind. And when we say you have to be sense controlled, you have to be mentally controlled, it means also you have to be emotionally controlled, because look at these emotions we need to control. Anger, yeah? We need to control anger. We need to control hatred. We need to control resentment. I mean, you can go down the whole list. If you don't control those things, they'll destroy you. I give a course on forgiveness, and I can testify from my experience that resentment will destroy you. It'll destroy you physically, it'll destroy you emotionally, it'll destroy you spiritually if you don't control it. So these emotions can control us. If you know anything about traditional medicine like Chinese or Ayurvedic, or maybe you just intuitively understand this, that different emotions affect different organs. They actually degrade or cause dysfunction and disease in different organs. Did you know that? Like anger, I think anger, who knows? Anger in kidney, is it? Or anger in liver or something? Or sometimes people, we say, someone bothers you and you say you're a pain in the neck, but then you actually get the pain in the neck, Like, so, yeah. So, where was I? Before we had pain in the neck, where was I? So, there's all these toxic emotions. And if we don't control them, they're going to control us. And whatever we want to do materially or spiritually, they're going to destroy us. So when Bhagavad Gita says control the mind, we should also understand it's talking about emotions, not just controlling thoughts. You could control a thought, but have the emotion. Okay, no, I'm not going to think bad about this friend, even though he got upset with me. But how do you feel? You say, I know I should forgive him, but I'm really angry. So your mind is in one place, your emotion is in another place. In that sense, it's harder to control the emotions because they're stronger, isn't it? So we have experience also that we, as devotees of Krishna, we chant every day. So a lot of you who are listening, you chant every day. And if you don't, I would recommend it highly, 100%. You should do this, transform your life. So we chant every day. But if there's something disturbing in our life and we can't control it, what do you think we think about when we chant? You think we think about our mantra? Or do you think we think about that thing that's disturbing us? You're right, the thing that's disturbing us. That's what we think about. Why? Because it has more intense emotion. Whatever has intense emotion captures your mind, doesn't it? Wherever there's emotion. Do you ever notice like hatred is more powerful than love? Like if you hate somebody, it's like that emotion like completely occupies your whole being. So emotions, if not controlled, can completely capsize our whole existence. So I think that's obvious. We have a question. I'm going to stop because I like to do things interactively, so that if you have questions about what I'm talking about or comments, then Please ask. Okay. What are some of the early warning signs that can help us to put our mind back in check when it goes into an unhealthy state? Well, it's an interesting question. Why do I have my phone on? Hold on. Oh, that's crazy. It's ringing and I have it off. That's illegal. We have to fire Samsung for making that happen. I have my phone on mute and somehow it's ringing, ruining the class. Okay. Early warning signs that can help us put our mind back into check when it goes into an unhealthy state. You know, if you don't know where you're going, you won't know if you're lost. Right? But let's say you say, hey, you want to go for a drive? I just got a new car. And I say, sure, sounds good. Where are we going? Go. I don't know, we just drive. Right. So if you just drive, you can't get lost, right? Because you're not going anywhere. So if in your life you're not clear about your goals, you may not even notice when you're getting distracted. Because distracted from what? You don't even know where you're going. So what are you going to be distracted from? So if you are if you're not clear on your goals, then how will you know you're in an unhealthy state? Because first you have to define what would be my healthy state? What is my goal? What is my objective? What do I want to achieve? So you may have material goals and you may have spiritual goals, but whatever those goals are, you want to know clearly what it is I'm trying to achieve and why I'm trying to achieve it. And so hopefully you have the right goals. So let's assume you have the right goals, that your material goals support your spiritual goals support your material goals. The video pauses when you read chat. That's interesting. As long as you can hear me. Can you hear me even though the video pauses? You know, seems like Zoom takes up more bandwidth than Facebook because I guess of all the videos on there. Yeah, so sometimes it happens. We'll have to tolerate it as long as you can hear me. So to answer this question, I would say you have to understand something about alignment. Like, what are the values? What are the beliefs? What are the thoughts? What are the feelings that align with what you are or what you want to be as a person, which align with your goals? So let's say for me, I'll use myself as an example. So my goals are to be Krishna conscious. My goals are to be pure. My goals are to be detached, to be compassionate, to live with integrity, to be forgiving, to be humble, to be genuine, real, clean, self-discipline, self-control. Those are my goals. So in order to achieve those goals, I have to have attitudes, behaviors, beliefs, just my whole consciousness has to be aligned with them. So if my goal is to be full of integrity, and it's very, very clear, it has to be to the core, from head to toe, that's what I have to be. So then it becomes very easy to notice when I'm getting distracted and say, well, if I just told this lie, then this would happen. No, I caught myself because I'm so conscious that integrity is important to me. It's in the front of my mind that I can immediately sense or understand when I'm going off. But if your goals, if your vision is not clear, or even if it is clear, but it's not in the forefront of your mind, then you can go off and you don't necessarily even notice you're going off. Because it's not so clear that this is the way I want to be. Just like if you get angry, right? I would say there's a good chance that if you get angry easily or often, that's not something that you have as a priority in your life to be peaceful. And you might say it is, but I would say I don't think it is, because if it were, you would be more aligned with that and you would catch it in the beginning. Oh, I'm getting upset. I need to control this. So that would be my short answer, aside from giving a 3-hour workshop my short answer would be very clear, heart, body, mind, soul, words, everything very clear. This is what I'm trying to become. This is where I'm going. Then it becomes very clear when you start to deviate. You said early warning signs that can help us put the mind back. You're just realizing I'm now out of integrity with my goals. I'm out of integrity with who I want to be. So, is that okay? If that's not
Yes,
okay,
thank you.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I mean,
answers.
I could say more about this. Now, that's for me personally. I find that if your goals aren't clear, then it's like you're driving in the car. Where are you going? I don't know. So how do you know you're lost? You can't be lost if you're not going anywhere, right? So how do you even know what is self-discipline unless you're trying to discipline yourself for something? And if you're not disciplining yourself for something, then you may never know that you're not disciplined. You're just spaced out all the time, and that's spaced out is normal. And as soon as you have to discipline yourself for something, you realize, oh, I'm so spaced out. I'm so distracted. Yeah. So you want some good advice? Well, I'll give it to you, even if you don't want it. Turn your phone off. Like, turn it off. Like, not now. Don't turn it off now. But, well, if you're watching on your computer, turn your phone off. If you're watching on your phone, don't turn it off now. Keep your phone off many, many, many hours of the day because it's a big distraction. And if you have goals and you're very intent on your goals, you'll notice how distracting your phone is, and you realize I'm not getting closer to my goals if I waste too much time on other things. So that's important. Okay, so the next question, I'm going to answer these questions, and I'm going to incorporate in these answers everything I was going to say anyway, but I think it's more interesting when we answer them in this interactive way. How could we strengthen our self-discipline? Okay, basic principle. And much of what I'm speaking is not per se things I've read, it's general things I've read that then put into practice in my own life, and then I'm sharing how it works from my experience and my experience in helping other people. So, how to strengthen self-discipline? It's very similar to the question I was answering before. You have to have a reason to be self-disciplined. You have to know what it is I want, but more important than knowing what you want, you have to know why you want it, because the why is where the inspiration comes from. So you might say, I'm lazy, but it's probably not that you're lazy, it's just you're not inspired. Because if you were inspired, you wouldn't be lazy. True? True or false? If you were inspired, when you're inspired by something, you're not lazy, even if you think you're lazy, right? Like when I was young, I started surfing when I was 13. And the best time to surf, at least in California, it's so crowded, is early in the morning, there's less people, and there's no wind, where the wind is blowing from the beach out to the ocean, which is better for surfing than if the wind's blowing from the ocean to the beach. So we would get up very early, but normally we wouldn't get up early. So you have all these, teenagers, lazy teenagers doing all kinds of crazy things. I don't want to tell you what we were doing, but you could imagine. I was a teenager in so we were surfing. We could drive, 1966, we could start driving. So if you know the history of what was going on in America in 1966, then you could figure out what we were doing. And we were doing all of it. And so, lazy. I had friends who stay up all night, go surfing in the morning, because they're inspired. So self-discipline comes for most of us in proportion to the inspiration we have to achieve what it is we want to achieve. And because I teach bhakti, I was trying to inspire people spiritually to achieve spiritual goals. Okay, I'm going to go back because of the question. Now I can see all of you. I teach people how to achieve spiritual goals. So, yeah. So a lot of spiritual goals are difficult because it requires lots of self-discipline. Like, we recommend getting up early. In the Vedas, it says, don't be asleep when the sun rises. It's kind of a problem. What time's the sun rise in South Africa in the summer? Is it like super early, like 4:30 a.m. or something? Yeah. Okay, that's going to be harder. Harder, yeah. But it doesn't rise that early now. We're in April. So the Vedas say, don't be asleep when the sun rises. That's really bad for your consciousness, bad for everything. Get up early. It's the best time to meditate. It's the best time to study, especially if you're studying something sacred. Get up early. So it's not easy for everyone to get up early. And then the Vedas recommend chanting every morning. First thing you should do, you should meditate, you should chant, you should pray, you should make a divine connection. And, you know, for a lot of people, it's like, I just, you know, I want to do something, you know, get up, you know, go into Facebook, you know, read the newspaper, have a cup of coffee, you know. That's kind of like the normal way of life, isn't it, these days? And so that requires some discipline. Don't turn on social media early in the morning. Don't do anything, just like chant. And then when you're chanting and meditating, your mind is going, toot, 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 toot. You like travel around the universe like 3 times every second. Your mind is just, isn't it? Anyone who's meditated knows, isn't it? Your mind is like, it's doing a universal tour. So, Hare Krishna. So that it's difficult. It requires discipline. Can you mute? Priya, can you mute everyone? Somebody's like cutting vegetables.
Sure, Mahatma Prabhu.
Can you, yeah, okay.
I think you have to unmute yourself, Mahatma Prabhu.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
You unmuted me also. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can. Not now.
I'm unmuted. Start video. Okay.
Perfect.
So it's really difficult to control your mind when you're chanting. It's actually sometimes can be painful. And those of you who chant, you know, it can be difficult or painful. So it requires self-discipline. It's coming from Indrajit. Indrajit killed Ravana. Wow. No, Indrajit did not kill Ravana. Indrajit was the brother of Ravana. Okay. So yeah. So you're doing a spiritual practice and it requires discipline, right? And sometimes it's hard. And you're doing anything, even if it's not spiritual, you're learning an instrument or you're studying and you want to go out and play with your friends, but you can't because you have to do this. It requires discipline. It can be difficult. We all know that. So the question was how to increase self-discipline. You have to have reasons why. Why should I do this? Just like when I was 19, I gave up my university education and I became a monk. And so what we did as monks, we got up every morning at 4. Prior to that, I was going to bed at 3. It was a kind of interesting transition from when I was in university, I was going to bed at 3 a.m. I was bad and getting up at 11 a.m. because my first class was at noon. So that was my schedule. And then I moved in the ashram and I started getting up at 4 a.m., which was an hour after I was used to going to bed. That was really difficult. And then we would take cold showers. No, it was the recommendation, you know, for the monk. You know, wake up, take cold shower. It's good for you, good for your health, good for your mind. balances the airs in your body. So and then we would chant for 2 hours. We sit down in one place, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, for 2 hours every day. And then we would have class, and we chant Sanskrit mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We chant these mantras, we'd have class, and that would go from 4:30 till about 8:30 or 9. So it wasn't always easy. But in the class every day, we were given reasons why this is important. Why should you do this? Because the whys cause the inspiration. If something's difficult, but you have a strong enough reason to do it, you'll do it. You'll discipline yourself, isn't it? So every day we would learn, you're a spiritual being. Yeah, you are eternal. You exist after the body exists. The purpose of life is to realize yourself. The purpose of life is to elevate yourself to eternal life after this life. To do that, you need to control yourself. The rewards will be greater. You know, we'd hear this over and over again. So because we were hearing that, our whys, the reason for doing, the inspiration, become very strong. But if the why isn't strong, then it's going to be difficult to discipline yourself, because you need a good reason to discipline yourself. You know, otherwise it's like, yeah, I know, but, you know, whatever. Isn't it? You ever done that? Yeah, I know I should do this, but, you know, let me think about it. Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Something like that. Yeah, it's a good idea. I know I should do it. I've been promising myself I should do it. Yeah, but I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. And that's why we don't do it. Because if you feel that way, it must not be that important for you. So, you know, if you're a lazy guy and I say there's R1,000,000 next door, just go knock on the guy's door and he'll give it to you. He just called me up and he said he wants to give you $1,000,000. Yeah, but next door, that's so far. I have to get off my couch, you know. I've been watching TV all day. That's too much. You must not really care about the R1,000,000. It may not really matter. But if you're a couch potato and you care about the R1,000,000, you get off your couch and you'll run over there. I said, you know, he'll give you the money if you get there in a minute. You jump off your couch. You've never run in the last 10 years, and you jump off your couch and you run over, he gives you the $1,000,000, right? So that's the idea. If there's motivation, if there's a reason, good enough reason to do something, then you'll be disciplined. So whatever it is you want to do, you always have to have these reasons in the forefront of your head, why to do it. And that's how I've been able to practice spiritual life for now. I've done it for 50 years. Check this out. When I was 19, I was going to school in a city called Berkeley. It's near San Francisco, California. You want to have some fun, just like Google Berkeley 1969. That's when I went to school, just to see what it was like. You know, it was crazy, full of hippies, riots, super liberal. They used to call it Berkeley. It was just like, it was a very liberal place. And free sex, free love, free pot, free ganja. This is just like crazy, right? And in that situation, I became a monk. I moved into an ashram and I stopped taking drugs and I became celibate. But that was quite amazing in the midst of all of that. But I had a reason to do it. My reasons were very strong. And even though I was surrounded by that environment, because my reasons were strong, I didn't give in, because my reasons to do what I was doing were stronger than any reason I could come up to not do it. And so if you're not doing it, it usually means your reasons to not do it are probably stronger than your reasons to do it. Like, yeah, but it's too much trouble. Yeah, I know I should do it, but it's so hard. Now you have a stronger reason not to do it than to do it. Yeah, I know I should, but you know, I'm not really good at that. And I know I should, yeah, but I tried before. So you have all these reasons not to do it, which are outdoing in intensity your reasons to do it, and then you run into trouble. Does that make sense? So that's just a, there could be more to be. I could say more, but we have a lot of questions. So you've been given. Priya has given you my contacts. I'm going back. We have all the I can't hear you stuff. Okay. The source of emotions. Well, as we were saying, the emotions are natural. But I could speak about this a little bit. This is very, very interesting. I don't know if you've studied Buddhism, but in order to transcend duality, to not be affected by the ups and downs of this world, because if you want to progress spiritual, you have to be even, equipoised. It's called sama in Sanskrit. You have to be equal. You've heard the word samadhi. It means equal consciousness. Your mind is fixed spiritually. So Buddhism teaches this in order to be equal, so you're not affected by the good and the bad, the successes and failures. Because being affected by success is just as bad as being affected by failure, because you're just a yo-yo. You're going up and down. So you're not even supposed to be affected. Things are good. Don't get too excited. Krishna says, tolerate happiness. Isn't that interesting? I was going to make a T-shirt that says, tolerate happiness, and everyone will look at the T-shirt and they're like, huh? They'll get confused. Why tolerate happiness? If the T-shirt says tolerate distress, everyone will say yes. Why tolerate happiness? Because if you don't tolerate happiness, you're not going to be able to tolerate success. You're supposed to be steady. So if something good happens, okay. If something bad happens, okay. So in Buddhism, what they teach is you look at something and you look at it without judging, because your emotions are connected to your judgments. So if I look at something that's bad, that normally I would say is bad, and I judge it without, I look at it without judgment, then I won't say it's bad, and I won't say it's good, and I'll remain neutral. So emotions come from how we judge something, or maybe in common psychological language, emotions come from the stories you tell yourself about what happened. So look at your life and look what's happening in your life, and you'll realize whatever's happening, consciously or unconsciously, you have a story. You just explain what happened. Like you come home and someone in your house says, so what happened today? And then you give your story. Oh, school was hard, work was hard, this and that, or it was good. But everyone who comes home who went through the same thing you had experienced that day will not have the same story. You said it was hard, and someone else will say, that was great. It was a challenge. I really like challenges. Or you come back and say, yeah, it was great. School was great. And the other person said, yeah, it was too easy. No challenge. So we all tell ourselves stories about what happens, right? And so the story you tell yourself, now that becomes your emotional response to the situation. How you see it becomes how you react. So, for example, you get mad at me, you get upset with me. But I understand that you're going through some difficulty in life. You just lost something, or you lost a lot of money, or you're having a health problem, or you lost a friend. So when you get upset with me, it doesn't upset me. It actually makes me feel more compassionate towards you, because I know what you're going through. So that's my story. You're upset with me because of the traumas in your life now. And it's not like you don't like me or you're really upset with me. It's just you're going through a lot of things, a lot of stuff, right? But if I didn't know that, I would get upset. Why are you getting angry with me? I didn't do anything to you. I'm always nice to you. That's not fair. So my story is responsible for my emotional response. Isn't that interesting? Well, what's most interesting about it, if you change your story, you change the response. Now, if you look at what is taught in the Vedas, taught in books like Bhagavad Gita, they're giving you a vision, a lens with which to see the world. So by seeing through that lens, everything you see will elevate you. It will elevate you emotionally, mentally, in every way, spiritually. because you're seeing things differently. Like, I'll give you an example. Let's say something bad happens, but you understand everything is connected with your karma, that there was some connection there, that something bad happened, but I must deserve this because I must have done something similar to another person in the past, a past life, and I just can't remember. So this bad thing happens, and I think, well, this is just my karma. I'm getting rid of bad. When I suffer, I get rid of bad karma. So I'm just getting rid of bad karma. It's going away. And somehow you can tolerate it because you see it, it's connected with something you did, and you don't blame anybody for it. Even though there's people you could blame, even though it seems like there's people you can blame, you don't blame them because you understand it's your karma. If you don't understand it's your karma, if you have another story, what's the story? It's your fault why you did that. That's unjust. I don't deserve that. You shouldn't have treated me that way. You're wrong. Now you're angry, you're upset because you have a different story. So if you can elevate your stories, then you elevate your emotions. But if we just look at the world through material eyes, which we often do, if we're not spiritually elevated, we'll look at it materially. And if we look at it materially, sometimes up, sometimes down, and a lot of times down when we don't need to be. And a lot of times up, you might say, well, what's wrong with up? Because the up won't stay up. And when it doesn't stay up, you become depressed. So when you see things spiritually, you'll stay more equal. Not so, you'll say, okay, it's my karma, so I'm not going to go, and go down here and scream. Okay, it's my karma. All right, we can work through this. I'm getting rid of some bad karma. You stay steady. You stay emotionally controlled. There's one other thing I want to say, which is really important and really less philosophical and more practical. Well, that was practical also, but a little philosophical. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to act that way. And so that's where emotional control comes in. And some people don't understand this. I feel a certain way, and therefore most of us think how you feel is how you have to act. You don't have to act how you feel. And I'll explain. When you have a thought, you know, you observe the thought. You look at your mind and the thoughts are going through your mind. I have to do this, I have to do that. It's like you're looking at the thoughts on a screen, isn't it? It's like you're looking at your thoughts on a TV. You are looking at your thoughts, all right? So like right now, close your eyes and just think. And you might be thinking, why am I closing my eyes and thinking? But the thinking and your mind are different. You have a mind, but you're not the mind. You're looking at your mind. You have thoughts. You are not the thoughts. Yes? You have a mind. You are not the mind. I am the mind. No, I have a mind. Yes. I am the body. No, I have a body. Yes. So you're looking at your mind. You're looking at your thoughts, right? Let's do the same thing with emotions. You are not the emotion. You are observing the emotion. You're experiencing the emotion. You're feeling the emotion, but you're different from the emotion. For example, you say, I am angry. That's wrong. You are not angry. You are feeling angry. Angry is not your identity. That is not your identity. I am blank. No, you are soul. That's your identity. You are consciousness. That's your identity. You feel angry. You feel sad. You feel happy. You feel resentful. You're feeling those things. You are different. Now, because you're different and you're feeling those things, you can't control them because they are not you. It just feels like they're you. And when you stand back and you understand they're not you, then if you're feeling angry, you don't have to act on it. If you're feeling resentful, you don't have to act on it. You could actually let it go. You could do that. Now, easier said than done, of course, but you can do that by understanding this is what I'm feeling, and I can detach from my feelings so that I don't act in ways which could be self-destructive or destructive for another person. So I just want to leave you with that thought. I could speak for hours on that also, with the thought that you're not your emotions. You observe your emotions. So when you feel something, and if you're practicing to not act on your emotions, or you're practicing spiritual life to control your emotions, you will feel it, but you'll be able to cut the action or the words. You won't say what you feel like saying. You won't act how you feel like acting because you know it's the wrong thing to say, it's the wrong thing to do. So even though you're feeling it, You don't act it out because you realize this is an emotion which I have, but it's not me. And you realize I don't have to act on my emotions. I can act higher. I'm above my emotions. I'm a soul. I'm a consciousness. I'm above those emotions. I can act differently. So I want to leave you with this other mantra, this thought. I am soul. I decide how I act. I decide how I think. I decide how I feel. That's a beautiful mantra. I decide. Otherwise, your emotions are going to decide. Your thoughts are going to, your mind will decide for you. Your emotions will decide for you. So you think, I decide. My emotion. So you're saying, yeah, it sounds good on paper, but it has to start on paper. So plant this in, as one teacher said, tattoo this to your brain inside. We won't see it. Tattoo. I decide because I am soul, I am consciousness, and I am controller. I control my mind. I'm above it. I'm more powerful than my mind. I'm more powerful than my emotions. You are more powerful than your emotions. You may not be able to suppress how you feel, but you can control how you act. So, Priya, what time are we supposed to end? In 7 minutes? Or does this go
Yes,
longer?
Mahatma Prabhu. But it's okay. Yeah, we can you can answer the questions if you like.
Okay, I'll just keep answering as succinctly as I
Okay.
can, because a lot of these questions you're asking, they're like, I could definitely go 10, 15 minutes if we had time, but I'm giving you seeds. The seeds I'm giving to you, if you water them and meditate on them, and if you go to my website, you can read, because I talk about these things. And I have, if you go to my website, you can click to my SoundCloud, and we have lectures on controlling emotions there. In fact, I just gave one the other day. If you go to my Facebook page, yeah, Mahatma Dasa on Facebook, I have lots of videos. That's a good place to go. If you go to my Facebook professional page, HG Mahatma Das, and then you go to videos, there's one video called the 10, what is it? 10 habits of highly ineffective people. Ineffective people. And this is one of them. They don't control emotions. I think it's the last one, number 3.
Mahatma Prabhu,
Yes.
could you give us permission for your video to come on?
Oh, it's off again. Okay, let me go back and put it on. Oh yeah, you can put it on for me, right? Start my video. If it ever goes off, yeah, just put it back on. Okay. We had a question. Is there truth to the mantra? You have to feel it to heal it. 100%. 108% true. And I'll just give you a little thought. This little thought could change your mind. So if you're spacing out, distracted, sit up and listen, take a breath. This is important. The reason that we don't solve a lot of our problems is because we're afraid to feel them. So we resist. When you resist dealing with something, it's an uncomfortable feeling. You don't want to deal with it, so you resist it. So to heal it, you have to feel it. I have a whole course on this, and it's very profound. You have to be able to experience the pain. Allow yourself to experience the pain. And I'll tell you a little something that I discovered along the way. In your forgiveness workshop, Krishna inspired me. He can inspire anybody. Krishna is within your heart, divine inspiration. He inspired me with an exercise, and the exercise was, I asked everyone to allow yourself right now to feel the pain of your resentment and draw an analogy. What does it feel like? And then write that analogy down, or do a drawing of that analogy, or if you like, you can act it out to all the students in the class. So everybody would sit and meditate and try to feel what their resentment felt like. Now, it's a very painful feeling. And we get all these kinds of answers, like it feels like I'm swimming in a lake of poison, and the poison is the sweat of my body. I feel like I'm locked in prison and I threw away the key. I feel like there's a block of cement over my body. I feel like there's arrows in my body. There's so many analogies. I feel like I'm chained by the neck and I can't move. So it's really very, very interesting to see what was going on internally, what people were feeling. And then I asked them a question, which is the answer to which is very valuable for us. I said, did you realize you were feeling like this, that your resentment felt like this? And everybody said, no, I never realized it felt like this. And I said, does this feeling like this help you? And they said, yes, because now that I know how bad it makes me feel, it's an impetus to get over it. So then why wasn't anybody feeling it? Because intuitively, we just felt it was painful to deal with. And because it was painful to deal with, we resisted. And because we resist it, then we just suppress it, repress it, lock it in the closet, and run away from it. And it doesn't go away. It just starts smelling. You lock it in a closet, it starts going sour, decomposing and smelling, but it doesn't go away. So, but once you face it and feel it, then once you've gone through that process of feeling it, now you're okay facing it because you've already felt it and you went through it. It's like the high diving board, you know. You're like sitting there and I come up to you and I just go, and I push you off. And then you just fall off, right? Ah! But because you've done it once, now the next time you'll do it yourself. It wasn't that bad. I'm used to it. So when you feel the pain, you go through it, now you can face it. So 100% true. You have to feel it before you heal it. That is so important. That, if that's the only thing you learn today, you have to feel it to heal it. You've learned a lot. Okay. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back.
Mahatma Prabhu, could I just ask a favor?
Yeah. Yeah.
There is a question by a student in the chat. If you could kindly answer that one, is it okay?
Where is it?
Priya, could you read it?
Sure.
It starts off as, you know which one I'm referring to?
Oracle Sena, if I'm
Yes.
saying that correctly. If you don't mind, I'll read it out now. She says, Hare Krishna to all. I came across the concept of Bhakti Yoga last year through the University of Johannesburg Bhakti Yoga Society. Anyway, I learned about the Maha Mantra and its purpose. So I've been chanting a bit inconsistently, but after a few months of chanting, my emotions have become intensified, meaning whatever emotion I experience, I feel it deeply more. So the emotion of love and compassion. My question is this the result of chanting or is it something else?
Could be the result, and it's probably mixed with your own nature. So, because not everyone will experience exactly that from chanting. So, maybe, are you saying this in a good way or a bad way? That you're feeling things more? Is that good or is it bad? What do you say? I feel it more deeply, so the emotion of love and compassion. Oh, that's good. You're feeling more love and compassion. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. If that's the case, definitely, yeah, it's the result of chanting. But chanting is purifying your senses. So, and also, we all, because we're spiritual, we all have all good qualities. Love, compassion, it's inherent within us as spiritual beings. So it's just being awakened. So it's like covered, you know, it's like we don't feel so much love and compassion, but as you chant, we're peeling off layers of the onion, so to speak. The love and compassion is there. It's like you're digging, you know, digging in your backyard, dig deep enough, you find that gem. So love and compassion is there. So you're accessing it more. So that's good. Are you happy? You can unmute and just tell me if we're on the same page. You're saying love and emotion is becoming stronger. Love and compassion. I hope your bad emotion, the negative emotions, the anger and the hatred are not becoming stronger. If they are, then I'd give an additional answer. So you want to let me know? Who asked that? Who? Sena. Sena, why don't you unmute yourself and
yes. Both the positive and the negative emotions are intensified. But me as a person, I think I'm optimistic. So I normally experience the positive more than the negative.
Yeah. Okay. So I can just give a little thought about the negative.
Okay.
So what happens when you're chanting is you're becoming purified.
Okay.
So when you become purified, just like, you know, like when you're sick, no, if you've ever done a fast, then fasting, when you fast, it cleanses your body, and cleansing means poisons come out. So you'll get a fever, you might get a lot of mucus. So the fasting is making you sicker, it seems, because the poisons are going through. And while the poisons are going through, you feel that. But then once you get rid of the poisons, you feel better. So chanting is cleansing. So a lot of the poisons are coming through. So they start to come up. And so you may start to feel negative emotions more strongly than before because they're coming through and they're coming out. So that's why. So hang in there. Hang in there, Senna, you'll make it.
Thank you.
Okay, so there was a question before that. Was one question before that, before all the video pause questions. Do emotions stem from the mind or heart? Well, yes, as we were discussing, yeah, emotions are the subtle aspect of the mind. And sometimes, in Sanskrit, sometimes the word for mind means consciousness, sometimes it means heart, because they're all connected, consciousness, mind, heart. So emotions are part of our subtle, what's called the subtle body, our subtle makeup. And, you know, emotions are necessary to exist in this world, to have relationships. And emotions are also necessary to calibrate what's going on. So sometimes you feel guilty. That emotion is necessary because it calibrates. Oh, I must have done something wrong. Otherwise, why would I feel guilty? I'm feeling shameful. I must have done something really wrong, or I'm not living up to my own ideals. I'm not living in alignment with my integrity. So I feel this kind of guilt or shame. So emotions are like, you know, gauges in a car telling you where you're at. Oh, my guilt gauge is up. I must be doing something wrong. My happiness gauge is up. I must be doing something right. My unhappiness gauge is up. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. So emotions are necessary to help us navigate. And so a lot of times you may do something and feel bad, and don't run away from that feeling, because that feeling is there to supply you with the knowledge that, oh, I guess I shouldn't do this, because every time I do this, I don't feel good. So don't neglect those feelings. Maybe let's say, you know, some people before they're vegetarian, or if you're not vegetarian, they'll be eating animals and they'll be thinking, you know, this doesn't feel right. Don't squash that voice. Turn up the volume on it, because those emotions are guiding you. You don't always get guidance from your intelligence. You get guidance from intuition. Sometimes you feel something very strongly. You know, I should do this, or I shouldn't do that. And so don't always neglect your feelings. I mean, sometimes they could be wrong, but generally those feelings are dictating ways to act. You ever hear stories like that? You know, a person says, you know, I was thinking of going this way, but something inside of me told me go this way. And then they find out later, if I would have went that way, there was a gang there, and I probably would have been injured or killed. Some people, 9/11 in New York, didn't go to work that day. They just had this, I don't think I'll go to work. So yeah, we have a few more questions, a few more hundred, I think. I will keep talking until you tell me to stop, okay? And I'll try to talk as fast as I can. I came across the concept of bhakti. Oh, that's the question we just read from Sena. Can you comment on Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's statement, O reservoir of all transcendental qualities, if one chants the holy name of the Lord, but his attention is elsewhere, how can he benefit? If even such a person chants 100,000 holy names of the Lord, still a drop of the mellow of ecstatic love will not be attained. It's really intimidating statement. What he's saying is, here is a pill of medicine. Okay, let's give an analogy. I just discovered the cure for COVID-19. I was just fooling around yesterday, and somebody in my house had COVID-19, and I thought, well, here's some sap from a pine tree. They're dying anyway. Let's try anything on them. And I put some sap of the pine tree on their wrist, and their body absorbed it, and they just, in 3 seconds, they were better. Wow, I found it. Here's the medicine. And you say, but you have to put it on your wrist. I go, yeah, it has to go on the wrist. But what if I take it? It won't work. What if I rub it on my face? It won't work. So it's like that. Here's a pure mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra, but there's a way to take it so it works. And if you don't take it according to the recommendation, then it doesn't work. So I could take this pine sap for a year and never cure my COVID-19. But if I put it on my wrist, it absorbs in my body. Did you know? Things absorb here. If you put oils here or under your arms, that absorbs. That's where most absorption comes from. So we'll use this as an analogy. If I put this on my wrist, it absorbs and I get cured. Any other way, it won't cure me. So that's why he's saying you could chant for hundreds, thousands of mantras, and it's not going to work because you're not chanting, you're not taking the medicine according to the direction. And so it really means that your mood in chanting is wrong, and you're not getting the benefit. Now, for those of us who are practicing, this statement is not applicable entirely, only slightly. It just means that the better you chant, the more benefit you'll get from. So for us who are trying to be sincere and trying to chant properly, we definitely get benefit. But the more you take it according to the prescription, the more benefit. So in this analogy, you would say, okay, you can take it through your mouth or you can put it on your neck. It's not going to work as well. If you put it on your wrist, it's going to work 3 seconds. Put it on your neck, it might take months or years. So that's the idea. If you're chanting sincerely, trying to be absorbed in your chanting, praying, it's going to act very quickly. If you're not, and you're kind of negligent and lazy about it, it's not going to act very well, which is also true for most things, right? If you're a negligent student or a negligent athlete or a negligent musician, it's going to take you longer to learn, if you ever learn. Okay. So we've given you some of the links if you're interested in learning more. My website has lots and lots and lots and lots and even more lots of audio, video, and lots of articles on lots of topics, and my Facebook page also. The Facebook page, Sattva Way, and then the Facebook page, HG Mahatma Das. Did you write that down? Spiritually being ever evolving, how can we keep it up with a MW? What's an MW?
I think it's material limited mind.
Because the transcendental spiritual is above your material limited mind, and it can descend into what you can't understand going up can be coming down. Within your heart, Krishna will reveal so many things you can't understand with your mind. Your mind will explode trying to understand something, but Krishna can put that in your mind. So we can evolve by grace, by mercy, when we're helped. This grace is coming down, picks us up and takes us up to where we couldn't go on our own. Yeah. Applying the higher taste understanding also helps in setting priorities and achieving your goals. I prefer to do this rather than that because it serves my happiness. Yeah, whatever works. If I do this, I'll be happier. Yeah, that works, definitely. The ramifications. If I do this, I'll be miserable. If I do this, I'll be happy. Then you contemplate, and that gives you inspiration to go forward. That's definitely a spiritual principle and a psychological principle. We're drawn, but you know something. Who wrote that? I can't read it. So we are more inspired, we get more strength to run away from misery than to run for something we're attracted to. The pain is the greatest motivator. So if you want to avoid something, if you think about the pain that comes as a consequence of indulging in it, that pain can be your motivator to move you away. Or if you're not doing something and you think about the pain you're undergoing by not doing it, that pain can become a great motivator. Of course, it's making you realize how happy you'll be if you don't do it. But the pain, Krishna uses this pain factor. In this world, there's a lot of pain, and it's a big motivator for spiritual life. Sometimes the reasons we don't do it aren't always that we're lazy or just procrastinating. When we're stressed or depressed, and it sometimes prevents us from doing what we're supposed to do. How do we overcome these emotions? Sometimes you just need to talk to somebody about it to work through them. Sometimes the emotions are overpowering. And sometimes you might need a counselor or someone to help you talk through it and give you guidance. So the point is that don't allow it to handicap you, but find something that will work. You can read books on emotional intelligence, controlling emotions. And of course, in these times when you get overwhelmed with emotions, you go for spiritual practice, just chat more, study more. Anything you find that works. Maybe you're a musician and you get overwhelmed, you just have to sing, or an artist, you just have to paint. You find a way in which you can process your emotions so they won't degrade you. And yeah, and oftentimes you have to talk about it, talk about your feelings, then you work through them. Even Lord Krishna says, abandon all varieties of religion and surrender to me. I believe that implies that we should forget about karma, keep sight of God. That's where our inner truth lies. Yes. 10 habits for ineffective people. Now you can see if you're ineffective. I'm not able to control my emotions. It is difficult for me to control my emotions. Can you please help? In 3 minutes, it may be hard. We go back to my other point. It all starts in how important is it for you to control your emotions? Where are the whys? Okay, who's asking you this question? Najpal? Nagpal? I can't see, it's so small.
It's Anant.
Anant. Oh, Anant.
Anant Nagpal.
Yeah, not Nagpal. Well, I read
Achintaya Kamala. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to make a joke at Chincha. Said, become a man in your next life, it's easier. But then some men will say, well, I don't know about that. Isn't that so easy? I forgot what I was telling you. So, how much do you really have to, oh yeah, I remember, okay, this is what Achinta Kamala, try this exercise and see if this works. Say, get a piece of paper on the top of the paper, and any of you can do this if you'd like to try this. How can I better control my emotions? That's the question you write on the top of the paper. How can I better control my emotions? Or how can I control my emotions? If you feel you don't even control them well, just how can I control them? How can I control them well? How can I control them better? Whatever your question is. So you write that on top of a piece of paper. Now your assignment is, now this is very powerful, and you can do this with any problem. This is not just specifically for emotional problems. You can do this for any problem. On the paper, I would like you to write 20 answers to this question. And you might think, 20 answers? I don't know if I have 20. So let me explain. Probably when you write your question, or a question that asks how to solve any problem, you'll come up with 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, even 5, just like the top of your head. How can I control my emotions? You think, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do that. But beyond that, you kind of go blank. And so you have to start thinking about it. Think, and you come up with 6, 7, 8. You get on a roll, you get to about 12, and you're like, okay, that's it. So I can't think beyond 12. You have to write 20, and I'll explain why. And this is so interesting. Usually the answers you come up with, like right off the top of your head, those first answers, those are not the answers. The answers that you need are the ones that are the most difficult to come up with. So that's going to be like 18, 17, 18, 19, and 20. When you're struggling, what else could I do? What else could I do? You're going deeper and deeper. Usually the best answers are the last ones because you're digging so deeply. So that's why you have to do 20. So try that and see if that helps. See if those last answers aren't the, wow, the jackpot. Yes, if I do this, I better be able to control myself. But I want to throw something out, an experience I had. It's a story, and maybe this will help you. So you all know where Mauritius is because you're close to Mauritius, and maybe some of you have been there on vacation or on your way to India. Back in the old days, the flights would go Air Mauritius, South African Airlines would go through Mauritius, often on the way to India. And sometimes you would stop like for a day. So I was in Mauritius, and you know, they speak Creole. English is they speak English and French, but at that time, when I was there, they didn't know English and French that well. And they spoke with the French accent, English. So, you know, sometimes they misunderstood me. And because I was American and Mauritian culture is very different than American culture. Sometimes, like when I said, I would say, do this, I had a, what do you call that? I'm getting tired. Assumption. I had an assumption based on experience. When in America, you tell someone, do this, you already have the picture in your mind of what it's going to come out like. So I tell them, do this. They have a different picture than I do. I didn't know that, but they have the Mauritian picture of what that means. Cook this. Well, that's the Mauritian way. You know, clean the floor. Well, they clean it the Mauritian way. You know, do this. In many cases, it was different than what I was assuming would happen. It was becoming very difficult. The language difficulties, the assumptions, and because it was an island, and particularly at that time, the educational standards were much lower than they are now. So a lot of people coming were not that well educated, but that wasn't really the problem so much. It was just lack of experience. They didn't, you know, I came to Mauritius in 1981, practically nobody had cars. None of the devotees ever had a car in their family. You know, when they joined the Hare Krishna movement, it was like the first time they ever went in a car. Can you believe that? And there were bullock carts carrying sugarcane in 1981. It was, I think, the third poorest country in the world at that time, or in the top 10. So it was much different. So it was, for me, it was testing my tolerance levels. And at one point, things were so bad, I'd say, do this, and they would create disasters. They totally misunderstood what I wanted to do, and just doing things that like, how could you do that? That's incomprehensible, that me telling you to do this, you would do that. So it's very frustrating. And I hit a point where I just started getting angry all the time. And then the language difficulty, I'd say, I need 4D batteries. And instead of getting 4D batteries, they'd come back with 40 batteries. So why are you giving me 40 batteries? I just needed 4. Oh, I thought you said 40. So it was like that. You could make a movie out of this. Just picture me, you know, smoke coming out of my head, right? And my ears and my eyes. So I was always disturbed. And then at one point, I felt totally out of integrity with who I was, trying to be Krishna conscious, trying to advance spiritually. This is the wrong picture. Here I am, this angry person, always getting upset with people, being intolerant. At the same time, every morning, Hare Krishna, oh Krishna, please help me, praying. So I was so out of integrity with who I should be, it hit me. And this is what happened. And I don't know if you can relate to this, and I don't know if you can do this, but I want to share this with all of you because it was a profound experience. It hit a certain threshold where this getting angry was so distasteful to me. It felt so out of integrity, so against what I stand for and who I want to believe. I made a decision. I said, that's it. I'm not going to get angry anymore. This is wrong. These devotees, they're nice, they're innocent, they don't deserve my anger. It's unfair, it's wrong. This is not what Krishna consciousness is. It's about love, compassion, understanding. So let me just tolerate this. I made that decision. And honestly, from that moment, I stopped becoming angry once I made that decision. So what I realized from that experience is if your emotional response to a situation is so out of alignment with who you want to be, or who you propose to be, or what your goal is, that it can hit this point of dissonance, that there's so much disalignment in you, it creates frustration. At that point, you just make a decision. That's it, I'm not going to do it. And you might think, but Prabhu, Mahatma, Prabhu, just a decision? And the point is, when you get to that point that I got to, that's it, a decision. That's all you need to make is a decision. And that decision will be so powerful. It'll be so strong because of your experience has brought you to this threshold that I cannot go on like this. So I would say, Kamala, Achinta Kamala, you want to meditate on these emotional responses that are hurting other people, hurting yourself, and build up this threshold like I built up. This is wrong, this is bad, I don't want to do this, I don't want to hurt people, I don't want to live this way. And when it hits a certain point, you'll naturally make the decision. Say, it has to stop, and you'll see a change. And there's great power in making decisions like that. And in fact, all the things we do to improve ourselves, ultimately, were just decisions to act in a certain way or not act in another way. So try that. I can't guarantee, but that was my experience. And it goes back to that, there has to be a motive. You have to have a motive. Whatever motivates you, whether it's, I'll be happier if I do it, I'll be out of integrity if I don't do it, it's too painful not to do it, whatever it may be, if you get those reasons strong enough, you'll be able to do it. And that has served me a lot. In my relationship with my wife, I try to create a culture at home which is very Krishna conscious, it's very peaceful, it's very aligned with what Krishna's teaching in the Gita. So even if I feel upset about something, I don't express it because it's not the culture we're trying to create. So what's the culture you're trying to create in your life, in the people in your life, and then see how you can live that culture. So that's all the questions. And we went 25 minutes extra. So should we end now, Priya? Or should we see if anyone else has questions?
Well, if anyone would like to ask Mahatma Prabhu a question directly, you're welcome to unmute yourself. But we do have a 5-minute limit. So if anyone would like to, you can speak now.
Okay. How does that work?
They can. Oh, someone is saying kirtan.
5-minute kirtan? Okay, let's do 5-minute kirtan.
That'll be good. Thank you.
Okay. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hold on a second. We're going to add percussion. A couple more minutes, okay?
Perfect.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time, everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, it's time to go, everyone. Nice being with you.
Thank you
Hare
so much, Mahatma Prabhu.
You're welcome.
I think before we say goodbye to Mahatma Prabhu, let's all unmute ourselves and say Haribol on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Nityananda.
Thank you so much, Mahatma Prabhu. That was really inspiring. And I think something we can all take from your presentation today is I decide. So yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Jai
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Gauranga.